along with, many other people with a coach, and then all these things. And so we actually got in there and it really, really clicked. It clicked for us that, well, maybe this is something I should not just do on nights and weekends. Like maybe this is something that we can also help people with, because so many folks in our network started to kind of get excited when we tell them a story about what we're working on. And it wasn't necessarily going to be a job. It wasn't going to be, well, what I'm sitting here doing now, which is like my full-time real estate investing career. But it's really become a passion point and a joy to be able to bring this to so many other people that don't have an exit strategy from the tech grind of 60, 80 hours a week. And it started so small because when you first approach people, the first kind of rung of folks that expressed interest and actually were comfortable with us were people that we know personally. And that is where it should start, because everyone talks about, before you work with someone, you got to vet the who. And so if they already know you, and in this case, there's a few folks that were executives, leaders within tech companies. They said, okay, well, we know you've been in real estate. We know that you kind of grew up with it. Let's just try this out with you too. And so they came in and invested with us. It wasn't until a few deals later where we really realized, okay, we want to take this bigger and we want to do it better. And by better, what I mean is, once we got past all of those first degree connections and everyone kind of knew about it within our own personal network, John, like we decided, let's go. We don't know enough. Like we don't know enough about who we're trying to help here. We don't know enough about who we're trying to serve. And so we actually went and did a bunch of interviews, and it was like no pitch interviews. I don't want to show anyone a deal. What I want to do is learn. So put together an interviewed 50, 60 people somewhere in there out of my second degree connections on LinkedIn, not my first, via introductions. And I just wanted to ask them questions like, what is your relationship with money? How do you manage your portfolio? Like, how do you think about making investments? What's the stuff that you consider before you actually do that? Because the folks we're trying to serve, we don't want to come at them with something and just have it be a pitch. We want it to be something where, frankly, we're just showing them our own personal wealth plan because we invest in our own deals that we put in front of them. So that's the kind of stuff that was critically important early on. It was just helping us understand what are the people that we're trying to help actually care about, and like what do they consider boring. We don't want to hit them with industry speak, jargon, terminology. We want them to feel like they can actually wrap their heads around and still be actually passive, because that's what, as you already know so well, John, like that's what people fear, is they don't want to be the person who goes and buys their first real estate deal, and they buy a single family home and they get the 1 a.m. calls about the broken toilet and they have to go fix it because they don't have a property manager, yada yada. They want something where they can invest reliably with 50K, 100K, 200K plus, depending on their financial footing, and then feel like they can go back about their lives. And so that's what we took away from, I'm being very brief with it, but like that's the kind of stuff we took away from those interviews was that, people are ready to talk about this, but they don't want to be drowned in jargon and they don't want to go nerd out as hard as I did. So we had to help them bridge that gap educationally.